Insights from a man. Ideas for mankind at large. Being a part of this universe, it was easy for me to see that there were men and women, and that both had needs: psychological, physiological, biological, intellectual, and eclectic. Most men tend towards eclectic pursuits, whereas women tend towards intellectual pursuits, which is odd given that both sexes go for what they either inherently lack or otherwise don't have an abundant supply available to them immediately. Perhaps it isn't that odd in the end. For example, women want strong, burly, and intellectually sound men, whereas men want inspirational, beautiful, feminine, and eclectic women. Our differences don't make us inferior to one another. In fact, these differences make us complementary to one another, being able to fulfill each other's desires how we wish, which is the penultimate peak of mankind's endeavor and latent potentials. People like to lie for two reasons. Number one, they know the truth. And number two, the fear of being judged harshly by others. The first scenario is the case for the most malignant narcissist who wishes to acquire a certain outcome by pursuing or pushing a narrative, whereas the one fearful of the hellish tongues of others is simply embarrassed of the truth, or doesn't want a negative image of them getting out. Both approaches are exceptionally psychosomatic in nature and high in mental aberrations. The malignant narcissist can use facts, overlay them with a test case sample, and use mathematics, a tool for reaching a factual conclusion in mankind's society, to prove the validity of a false and aberrational narrative. For your entertainment and information, stats from the National Institute of Health, that is the NIH, which cites a manuscript on their website using the PMCID PMC 2939725 to highlight how the dark-skinned people are intellectually inferior. A nonsensical, insanely idiotic postulate that I'm sure no matter what race, color, creed, or nationality is listening to me right now will dismiss this notion as such. Yet, such falsehoods exist because the liar knows the truth. The next idea I want to impart on you, dear astute viewer, is that us boys and girls were given the keys to the kingdom at a very early age. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you were given these keys at a very early age in your formative years, and you perhaps have forgotten about it a long time ago. I am, of course, talking about the game of chess. This seemingly insignificant playtime thing turns out to be one of the most important pieces of the puzzle that can solve a lot of various ailments in our societies. One only need to look at how each piece works and how it interacts with the board and other pieces themselves. One may argue that this gives us a clue on where to start the formation of our lives, the schedules we keep, the truths we like to believe, the facts we encounter, and how we deal with them, if at all. How we would like to shape or mold our lives in the next 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, and so on. A philosopher once said, "It is no nation we inhabit, but a language." Make no mistake, our native tongue is our true fatherland. Emil Cioran. Our most cherished ability is the ability to speak and write in our language. This language can give life to ideas and breathe fresh oxygen in dying ones. The way we speak and write is our most trusted armament to make our own way in the world. Good intentions. How have I waited to talk about this with you all? Everybody on the surface level have good intentions that make them seem to be a harmless creature of circumstance looking to make their way in the world. However, I want to remind you that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. History is rife with well-meaning fools who harmed mankind so greatly that we haven't still been able to claim other planets, nor have we been able to invent intergalactic travel. One cannot, in their right mind, have good intentions while they are incompetent in every sense of the word. A well-meaning non-pilot can never fly a plane safely to its destination, unless of course they learn how to be one. The best pleasures are the ones that fulfill a wide range of one's needs very simply. The simpler the pleasure, the better the outcome. Instead of looking for complexity, look for simplicity. You make your own luck. Men do it by working and discovering new things. And women do it by showing up for the right man. Our biological differences once again playing a role in how we look towards high achievement. When a man cries, or when a woman doesn't cry, when going through a traumatic experience, it is a huge deal. There's a hidden grief in that man or woman that no one knows about. And it manifests itself within that person in that instance in such a way that renders them completely unable to consolidate or get closure in that instance. This is because, as we know, men do not cry and women cannot stop crying. Lastly, I want to draw your attention towards something that you may not believe right now, but given time and your consideration and attention towards this matter, you will begin to see it as well. You are more powerful than you realize. Your latent potentials can be fully unlocked when you are able to do certain things that align with who you are and who you want to be. Most people go about their lives in a very simplistic manner. I'm not talking about pleasures here, of course. Rather, a course of action which we chart for our lives, which is why most men live a life of quiet desperation. When you realize what you are capable of, you will immediately stop taking dopamine overload via cheap means of pleasures such as social media or other instant gratification providing outlets and look instead inwards for what you can achieve. Pen and sword are both mighty. Just know when to use which. But of course, use pen more. That's all for now.